If we were watching today's readings in a TV show or movie, we would see a flashback. In the first reading, we're on the day of Pentecost, and we encounter Peter and the others boldly proclaiming the good news. All their fear seems to be gone, and thousands of people come to believe in a single day because of their preaching. In the Gospel, we find ourselves back at the tomb on Easter Sunday morning in one of the most beautiful scenes of the Easter Gospels, Mary Magdalene's encounter of the risen Jesus. It is from this profound encounter that Mary Magdalene becomes known as the Apostle to the Apostles. It is through these two very different scenes that we are reminded of the transforming presence and spirit of the risen Christ. On that Pentecost morning, the Spirit descends upon all gathered in the upper room and pushes them out into the world, proclaiming the good news. It is a powerful spirit, a life-giving spirit, a spirit on fire with the love and presence of God. It is a spirit that cannot be missed or stopped. On Easter Sunday morning, the presence and spirit of the risen Christ gently and lovingly invited Mary Magdalene into the mystery of the resurrection. In the previous verses to today's gospel reading, Mary had found the stone that covered the grave had been removed. She had come to warn Peter and John. They had arrived and had found the grave empty. As they returned to the house of the disciples, Mary remained crying next to the grave. Peering into the grave, she saw two angels where the body of the Lord had been, and they asked her, "Woman, why are you crying?" She replies, "Because they took my Lord, and I don't know where they have put him." We see that Mary's sorrow is made worse because of the missing body. She's not just crying because of his death now, but because they don't even have his body. She couldn't feel more abandoned. As Mary is inconsolable, Jesus appears to her and says, "Woman, why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" But Mary doesn't recognize him and confuses him with the gardener, asking him that if he has taken the corpse, to tell her where it is. Up to this moment, the whole conversation with both the angels and Jesus has taken what one may say on an impersonal level. No one, especially not Jesus, has called her by name when he most certainly knew who she was. Perhaps this is meant as a reflection of the emptiness and sadness that Mary experienced in her heart. That same emptiness that we feel in moments when we are alone and wonder where God is. We struggle as we feel Jesus isn't there and we cannot find him. But everything changes when Jesus reveals himself and calls her name, Mary. At that moment, she sees with the eyes of her soul. Her emptiness and sadness turns to joy, and she recognizes Jesus. In times of our own sorrow and stress, it is so easy, just like Mary, to lose Jesus, even though he has been right at our side. We do not find Jesus within us, or like Mary, we see him, but we do not recognize him. At these moments, we need to open our eyes and our hearts to the world around us, even if it's on the internet and on the TV, to see people who are going above and beyond in service to their neighbors and to strangers, and we see Jesus. Faith is like breathing. We may not be immediately aware of it all the time, but we cannot live without it. There are certainly moments when strong emotions seem to displace our faith. Breathing is something we have all become so much more aware of over these few months. So let us remember that God's breath never stops breathing into our soul. The trauma of Good Friday has indeed passed. The Lord has been raised. Emmanuel, our God, is with us. And he sends us forth, like Mary Magdalene, the first to proclaim to the risen Christ, and Peter and the others, to boldly proclaim the good news with joy.